Hi, it's Mandy from 2021 Visual Arts Centre. Today I'm going to show you how to make paper bowls out of old magazines. To try and get something really thin like the Yellow Pages. Now I know they've stopped doing them. Luckily for me, I managed to scout around and found we've got a pile of them still in the drawer. So if you've got something like that, try and start with that. Okay, so I've already started with this one. Just grab a few at a time and pull them out, and then you'll have to start separating them. Like that. Okay. So let's start with the first one then. Try and start with the roughs, the torn side. That's the bit that you're going to fold over. And you're going to fold it like that into a triangle. So then the rough side is going to be inside the folded paper. And then you're going to get this folded bit, use your fingers to just gently fold over, try and make it as parallel as possible. Can you see that? Okay, and then you're just going to, from there on, you're just going to keep folding over on itself, just keep going. So there's two ways you can do this. You can either use glue, which is obviously what I'm using at the moment. It's PVA that I'm using, and it's quite a strong PVA. If you haven't got strong PVA, just use whatever you've got. You might just have to hold it in place a little bit longer. The other thing that you can do is you can use masking tape if you've got that. So I'm going to show you the next bit. What I would suggest is get at least 10 at a time done ahead of time like this, so that you're ready, because the next bit, I'm just going to get a bit of masking tape because I'll need that to keep my circle in place. Okay, so wrap the end of one of these folded bits of paper around a pencil. You see there, I'm just going to kind of nip it in there and then just keep folding like that. I'll just show you again. So you can kind of just nip that bit in there and then fold over the top of it, and then just keep folding like this. Try and keep your finger or your thumb on it to keep it in place. Keep it as tight as you can. Press your finger down on it, or your thumb, as you go in, to try and keep it in place. You won't need the pencil in for the whole of making this, but just until you've got a bit of a structure going there. So you can take it faster or slower depending on how confident you feel with this. This is one that you can do with members of the family or on your own. It's up to you. You could, everybody could have a go at doing the folded bits of paper and either making their own paper bowl, or you could all kind of join in, collaborate on making one. So get everybody making these folded bits. Right, your next bit, when that's come towards the end, get the next bit of paper and shove that pointed end into that open end if you can. Just try and get it squashed in there a little bit, as far as you can, and then just keep folding again. So if you want to do, you can stick a little bit of PVA on there, or a bit of tape, just to make sure that it's definitely held in place. It's a while since I've done one of these actually. The time to get rid of the pencil is when you've got enough of a grip excuse me, of this to be able to take the pencil out. So get your next one, slot it in. If you want to put a bit of PVA on there. I think I've got enough to hold on to there. You see what I'm doing now? I'm gripping the edges. There you go. Just do it carefully. And then it also helps with your finger and thumb on either side of this coil, is to kind of try and keep it as flat as possible. Okay. Okay, I've done around about 10 there, so I'm just gonna put this masking tape over the edge just to keep it in place. So this is handy just to stop it, because obviously if you let go of that, it's just going to go and it's all going to come undone. So it's a good idea to have some masking tape handy. This helps as well if you want to go and have a break, have your lunch, whatever. Or if you just need, you know, to flex your fingers. I would say do it in tens, because then you can give your hands a break, because it's quite intense with your fingers. Okay, as you can see, I've nearly finished putting my paper bowl, the flat, together. Just got one more to do. Now, if you are having difficulties getting one end into another, if it doesn't slot in easily like that, what you can do is bend it over and then slot it in. But don't forget, when you do that, to glue it. Or if you're not gluing, if you're using tape, get a piece of tape on it once you've slotted one end into another. Okay, so your tape, if you're going to use tape, just use a thin piece just that overlaps both of those there. You can have it going around that way as well if you feel it'll be more secure, but you will see it. Okay. Go. So that one is, yeah, pretty much similar size to that. So I'm going to glue this end. But I know this PVA that I've got is pretty strong. The thicker stuff is the stuff that tends to dry quicker. That's what you could do with doing, really. But if you are struggling with PVA, or if you feel more comfortable with tape, then just use tape. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the end there, just to, you know, give it added security there, that it's not going to come undone. Okay, there you go. So I'll put that one on top. You can see it's more or less the same size. So I think I've got around about 40 of the folded pieces of paper. Now if you use a magazine like that, it's a little bit bigger than the Yellow Pages, so you're gonna get, and it's bulkier, so you may not need to use as many pieces of the magazine as the Yellow Pages. It'll all be down to the size of the paper that you're using and the thickness. Going back to that, you can, just to say, because Yellow Pages are not being produced anymore, use any magazine, just try and stick with the ones that have got the thinner paper. Catalogues are really good as well, especially the cheap tool catalogues, because the paper is pretty thin there. So that's the key to it, really, is to try and make sure that you've got thin paper that you're using. So what you start to do with this then is you start to push the centre like that, and you just keep going. here with the almost dried paper bowl. You can see inside it's still drying a little bit, but mostly it's dry now. So that's quite nice and firm. Hope you've enjoyed seeing this, and as I've said before on other videos, I would love to see the results of this session. If you can send us some pictures, that'd be great. Thank you.